So in this video, we're going to go over pressure unit conversions that relate to our gas laws and our standard 4. Level 3, mathematically convert between pressure units using dimensional analysis. So to just get us started, the units that we use for pressure. So one, there's kilopascals, which we've used in the 3 labs that we've done. The other ones you might be familiar with, there's millimeters mercury. So MMHD, there's torr, which is just TORR. It's the same thing as millimeters mercury. It's just named for the scientist that discovered it, because he discovered that you could actually use and measure millimeters of mercury first to see the pressure of a gas. And then the last one is atmospheres, which is part of the standard pressure unit. So all of these have a relationship. So they have different conversion factors that we can apply mathematically. So like I said, millimeters mercury and torr are the same. So their conversion factor 760 is equal to 760. Millimeters mercury is also equal to 1 atmosphere, and it's also equal to 101.3 kilopascals. So based on this, I can also draw the conclusion that 1 atmosphere is equivalent to 101.3 kilopascals. So rather than looking at all of these as individual conversion factors, we can combine it into one so that we understand they're all equivalent to each other. And then from there, when you're asked to do a conversion, you can just pull out the ones that you want and set them equal to each other. So all of these conversions should be a one-step calculation. So as an example of how we would do this mathematically, the pressure inside a car tire is 225 kilopascals. What is this in atmospheres? So the first thing I need to know is my conversion factor. So from the previous slide, I know that 1 atmosphere is equivalent to 101.3 kilopascals. So the next thing I need to do, I need to set up my conversion using dimensional analysis. So dimensional analysis is just how you set up the calculation. So there's a very specific way to do it because you have to show that the units are canceling out properly. So for this, whenever you set up, you always start with what's given to you. So you always write that first. So my 225. And then I'm going to set up my conversion. So this is just like unit conversions that you guys have probably done prior to. So if I was converting like feet into inches or miles into inches into feet, those different conversions, it's the same concept. So in order to actually cancel out kilopascals, you need to divide by our 101.3, because then my units are going to cancel out accordingly. So when you set this up, my kilopascals will go down here, and I'm trying to get to atmospheres. So what you want to try and convert into is always going to go at the top of your setup. And now I just have to put in my numbers. So this would be a 1, and this would be 101.3. So now all you have to do is take my 225, multiply by 1, and then you divide by your 101.3. And when you do that calculation into atmospheres, we should get 2.22113, so on and so forth. So remember, sig figs are still a thing. In my given value, I've got 3 sig figs. So my final answer should only have 3 sig figs. So I've got 1, 2, 3. My number ends there. So final answer would be 2.22 atmospheres. Okay, so that's just one example. Another example, we're still going to use the 225 kilopascals. But now we're going to convert it into millimeters of mercury. So that means that we're going to need a different conversion factor. So Go back in your notes, go back in the video. I know that 101.3 kilopascals is equivalent to 760 millimeters of mercury. Okay, so now I just set up my conversion according to my dimensional analysis, just showing that my units cancel out appropriately. So I'm going to again start with my given. Okay, and I know that in order to get rid of my kilopascal unit, I have to divide my number by that. So it always falls to the bottom. And then what I'm trying to get to is always going to go up top. So you're always going to multiply by the unit you want to get to. So all I have to do, put my numbers in accordingly. Okay, so I take my 225, multiply by 760, and then I can divide by my 101.3 kilopascals. And the number I should get, okay, but that's not in sig figs, right? So again, I need 3 sig figs. So you've got multiple options here. So here's 1, 2, 3. So I'd cut my number here. You can do 1690 because that's 3 sig figs and my 8 rounded that other 8 up. Or you put it into scientific notation, 1.69 times 10 to the third. And don't forget to write your unit on the edge of your number. All right, so that is all for unit conversions when it comes to pressure. You'll use this and apply this when you guys do PV and T charts, and you'll see that in the next video.